Hi guys, I've really got to clean my desk. It's terrible. The reason for the hat. I live in Australia and skin cancer is a major killer down here, but this isn't the reason for it. This is a fairly common, normal hat. So there's nothing remarkable about it. It follows all the conventions of covering up a bald guy's head. It's made of a hat-like material. It covers my head well. It's made in Italy. It's a lovely little hat. Got it for Christmas. There's nothing special about that hat. It's like every other hat known to man. So how can we use a hat as a metaphor for today? Well, people say be unique, tell a story, have a unique voice, and that's the best advice you can actually get as a screenwriter. Don't follow formulas. Use the tools that are available to you to forge your own story. I'm going to put a link below to an Australian comedy act called Access of Awesome. They play this tune, a standard 4 chords, and over that dead standard pop song format, they sing about 30 or 40 songs, and all these songs are identical because they follow the formula of pop songs. Now, pop songs are great. They're popular now, and, you know, it's easier to put out music now than ever before. But they're not great. There's not a pop song version of Stairway to Heaven. There isn't that sort of... there was a song called Man Overboard when I was a kid. I think it was done by... I can't remember. I'll find a link, put it in the show notes as well, where the song didn't have the verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. It had that feeling of verse, chorus, but no lines were repeated through the song. That is maybe like an experimental art film. The reason I also talk about hats is you can still be a hat. You can still do the thing that everyone else does in a way, but you can make yourself exceptionally unique. You can have an unlikable protagonist. You can tell a story from a third person's point of view, being observatory. No, doesn't matter, it's a bad word. If you watch The Big Lebowski, I think it's Sam Elliott, the cowboy with the big mustache. He sits at the end of the bar, and he's a good friend of Joel and Ethan Coen. And he said to them, "What am I doing in this film?" He's a narrator. He gets there and tells the story. Now, people will say, you can't have that. You can't have voiceover. You can't have a narrator. You can't have... Why the hell not? That would be unique. That would be a way of making your story a unique story. Boy, I'm looking at that. You've got to clean my desk up. Now, here's another hat example. I was down in Melbourne visiting my son, and there's a market there called the Queen Victoria Market. It's great. If you ever get to Melbourne, definitely get to the Queen Vic. The food courts at the back are amazing. There was a milliner there, and he made me this. Right? He had a lovely... There you go. Cobb & Co. He had a lovely top hat, but I'm not Slash out of Guns N' Roses, and I didn't really want to wear a top hat. But the brim is amazing. Like I said, Australia, very, 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 very dry. So I asked him if he could make me the top hat, but with only a 3-inch rise. So he did. He made me this. This is a unique top hat. I don't know of any other top hat in the world that's only got a 3-inch pipe on it. Wasn't that expensive, incredibly comfortable, great to wear, but it's a unique interpretation of a top hat. It has all the things a hat has. It has a brim, has a rise, has a band, has a lining. It's all leather lined, but it's a unique version of a hat. So how can you take that, listen to the Access of Awesome, and think, what am I going to do to tell my story uniquely? Well, first, come up with your story. We're actually going to put a long podcast together where we'll sort of write a story in real time, write a film in real time. We won't do the dialogue and all that, but we'll plan it all out and have all the beats there and have a way of doing a film. So what would you do in this situation to come up with your own story hat? Start with your basic story. Okay, I'm going to have a Western. I'm going to have I want to have a sci-fi film. Okay, so it's set in the future where there's everything that's high tech and all that sort of stuff. So what am I going to do to make it a really unique version of a high tech story? Well, there's quite often you know, big central government controlling everything. There's a lot of sci-fi films. There's flying ships. There's all this sort of stuff. So why don't you sort of go, okay, we're gonna break that. There's ultra high tech, but not for people, or there's ultra high tech and society's turned their back on it, or the ultra high tech has to be maintained so much that people are now having horrible lives but maintaining the tech. Don't make it this beautiful shiny utopia. Or if you're going to do the Blade Runner thing, it's gritty, but don't do it like Blade Runner itself. Don't clone Blade Runner. Find something about that high-tech world and move it this way and tell that story. Maybe they've got all these great ways of doing medicine and everyone can live forever. So there's a whole subclass, a whole sort of like a terrorist group, which is just trying to preserve the right to die. And we're going to tell that story there. Is humanity's right to die more important than maintaining this utopian, balanced, high-tech thing where no one lives, no one dies, there's just enough people to generate enough food to keep the machines, all that, and there's this group of people that want to die and that's going to throw the balance off. There's a sci-fi story which isn't like any other sci-fi story. As always, leave a comment. It'd be really, really appreciated if you could. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. There's all those great things you can do on YouTube. If you get to Melbourne, pop into the markets, get a hat. If you live in Australia, look after skin cancer. Don't be a victim of that. I've had heaps of them cut off me. And until next time, keep writing. Bye, guys.